it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-k.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche And after 22 years, Raymond Marsh!
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I'm Jimmy Murphy, and we are once again live from West End Johnny's, 138 Portland Street in Boston. If you're in the area for the Beanpot, which consolation game is starting up in an hour and a half from now, come on by, get ready here. They're setting up the bar up here. They got the tables all set up. It's starting to take action right now.
My chair. Johnny told me that's my chair.
Oh, that's your chair now. Okay. It's like Norm in Cheers.
Yeah, Norm and Cheers.
So Pierre now has his own Norm chair here at West End Johnny's. I love it. And as we told you many times when we broadcast here last week, if you're a sports fan, this is a must place for you to come to right now. There's so many wonderful pictures and artifacts and stuff that Johnny has put up here over the years. And it's like a museum here.
How about how we've been treated?
Yes.
I'm just telling you, like you and I get to travel a lot of different places.
Yep.
Harry Lemon, Ireland, good.
Yep. The Harp.
Good. Johnny's, West End Johnny's.
Yeah.
Off the charts.
And that's why we're going to be back here next week when the Four Nations face-off comes down to Boston after its stint in Montreal. We will be here next Monday, 6 to 7 p.m., and then on Championship Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. before the Four Nations face-off. So remember that as well. And in between now and then, you and I will be heading up to Montreal tomorrow. We're making the drive up, and we will be live from McLean's Public House, 6 to 7 p.m. this Wednesday and Thursday, and then again on Saturday. And remember, Saturday, they do have two games. There's one game at 1 p.m. at the Bell Center, and then another at 8 p.m. We will tee up that 8 p.m. game, which is USA-Canada, Pierre. That is the one that everyone is looking forward to. And then we come back here on Monday, like I said, same time. Remember, though, there is a 1 p.m. game as well on Monday here in Boston. But, Pierre, we are here today specifically because of the Beanpot. And we will once again, for the umpteenth hundred time, see Boston University and Boston College play for all the beans here at TD Garden. Boston College was victorious last week on Monday over Northeastern. And then, of course, BU beat Harvard. Weren't really close games, Pierre, but I'm sure
they were bad games. Both games were bad games because both teams, BU and BC, were better. They were better than Northeastern and Harvard.
Yep.
They were better. Northeastern did not play very well after probably the halfway point of the second period, and they paid the price for that. And for Harvard, it was kind of the same thing for the whole game. BU and BC are two good teams. Both of them are top 10 teams. BC's number one in the country. So, you know what? They deserve to be in the final. Both teams are good teams.
My question to you, and we kind of spoke about it. We couldn't really speak about it much to Mike Eruzione because he was proud to let us know repeatedly he never played in a consolation game. But we talked to some others that have. And my question to you is, if you're, I know you never played in a Beanpot, but I don't know if you've ever been in a similar situation where you have to play in that game before the championship game. How hard is that to get up for? And, what do you have to do to kind of block out that you're not in that game after you?
Well, first of all, it's the honor to represent your school, number one. Number two, it's about your teammates, the guy sitting next to you, and taking care of him and making sure he's looked after. And the third thing is there are a whole lot of people that made a lot of sacrifices for you to be able to play in that game, whether you're in the championship or the consolation. People are paying real money to go watch.
Yeah.
You owe it to them to put on a show.
I agree.
So it's pretty easy. If you're the coach of the team, you stand and deliver. You have standards, and you make your players uphold the standards that you create. I know that I've talked to a couple kids from Northeastern, and we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. To put it in perspective, though, I know that Northeastern practiced at Arlington High School on Saturday.
I saw that.
And they had 400 people there watching. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then after that game, I know two of their players. I went to go scout a prep school game. Two of their players were at that prep school game watching their alumni. Their alumni.
That's awesome.
School. They were watching.
That's awesome.
There's some hockey attitude that's flowing through the Northeastern clubhouse. We'll see where they're translating.
And the other thing, too, to keep in mind, Pierre, too, I mean, I know it's still a bit away, but Northeastern is still fighting for pairwise here. I mean, they're still in that. They're in that hunt. So this is big. I mean, this counts.
All these games count for all these teams. And you're making such a good point, Jimmy. The pairwise matters a lot. We're in the stretch run now for Hockey East, and every game is about. We'll look at some of the upsets.
It's insane.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a game last Friday. UConn looked like they were going to steamroll your alma mater.
UMass
beat
Amherst,
them.
that
They
is.
were
Yep.
going to steamroll.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Coach Carville went to work with some adjustments. They end up winning the game 5-4.
And that kept UMass Amherst in the hunt.
In the hunt.
Yeah, it does.
And if they lose that, they're probably not going to make it.
And a credit to Coach Kavanaugh for getting his team to bounce back the next night and beat UMass Lowell,
100%.
another formidable opponent.
And then you look at it, I can tell you this coming week, Lowell has 2 games with Northeastern.
Mm-hmm.
Whomever sweeps that,
If
pair-wise,
they
they're good.
Yeah.
And
they're
if
pretty
they
much in.
split, it's then you're still alive, but
Yeah.
it's not good.
I'm with
But if you get swept, it's a problem.
It's a huge problem there. So yeah, it's that time of year right now and that's what I was going to say, getting back to just how do you get up for these games? Obviously pride, but obviously, hey, our season's on the line. It's not just,
Well,
the
I
Beanpot.
think it comes down to the standards you create.
uh-huh.
And I think both teams, Harvard and Northeastern, will feel, I don't want to say guilty because I think that's too strong a term. They're not going to feel good about the way they left the Garden last game.
Yeah,
So it depends on who competes. I think this game actually has a chance to be really good.
I do too.
Doesn't mean that 1 million people are going to be there like they will be for the championship game.
Right.
But I think the game's got a chance to be really good.
And by the way, Northeastern Harvard at 4:30 p.m. and then at 7:30, BC and BU for the final. Looking at that game, Pierre, I mean, obviously it goes without saying the history between those two schools and the rivalry they have there. But when we're looking specifically at this season's teams, we all knew what BC was going to be coming into this year, right? I mean, they're so skilled. They had so many guys come back. Obviously, Ryan Leonard comes back, and he's delivered. He's probably, I would say, the front runner for the Hobie Baker, and he continues to amaze almost every time he steps on the ice. But you look at BU, Pierre, and this was a younger team. This was a team that you knew was skilled, but we didn't know how much they could come together. As you've watched this team, and I know you pay attention closely, as you've watched them throughout this season, have you seen them become more of a unit and look more experienced, so to speak?
One of the best things that happened to them was going to Ireland. And they won
The
the tournament.
yeah,
They won the big tournament.
the Friendship Four. Yep.
And they had to come from behind to beat Notre Dame. And Shane LaChance, who's a sophomore
Got
captain
that
there.
goal last week.
Yeah, he's a sophomore captain there. He did an amazing job. And so they're a team that has come together. Now, again, they've had a big roller coaster ride. But if you were going to tell me that they were going to be able to be this good without Lane Hudson and Macklin Celebrini,
It's amazing.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And a credit to Coach Jay Pandolfo.
Jay's done a great job with them. In fact, he was at that prep school game I was telling you
Oh,
about,
wow.
watching his son play. He's a 6'4", 180-pound winger for the River School. This actually sounds pretty good. But anyways, I think they've come together, but they've been a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been a roller coaster because they lose 2 guys who are star players in the NHL.
And you look on the flip side, Boston College obviously has been floating around or at number 1 in the country throughout the season. When you're a team like that and every team you play, that's the game circled on their calendar, you're the team to beat. How do you approach that?
Well, one of the things that they have is they've got Jacob Fowler. So even when they make mistakes as a team, and they do make mistakes,
He bails them out.
he's there. I mean, I watched him make 3 saves against Northeastern when this game was tight, where if those pucks go in, then maybe we're not having the same discussion today.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to have when you're a team. That's not, but how would I approach it? I'd be really hard on my guys. Like I'd challenge
Never look
them.
ahead,
No,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just you gotta be ready to play. They know what they want to play for. They had a bitter taste from last year. Obviously, they didn't win the national
Making it all the way. Yep.
Denver did. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I don't think motivation can be hard for that.
No.
For either team.
No, not tonight.
They'll both be motivated.
Bringing up Fowler, though, we'll focus on him quickly before we move on to some pro stuff. As I said to you last week, the thing I love about him is, he's in these clutch. Let's say it's a 1-1 game or something, right? Like you say, maybe the defense makes a costly mistake. It goes back a 2-on-1 the other way, and he makes the save. And every time the camera will zoom in on him after a big save like that, he's just laughing. Like he's smiling. He's got that look in his face. Like it almost reminded me, you watched the Super Bowl last night and you saw how that defensive line really ate up the Kansas City Chiefs and gave Pat Mahomes more trouble than I think he's had ever. And when they would focus in on those defenders, they're just laughing. They're having a good time out there because they know they're good. They know they can do this. Fowler knows that he can rise to the occasion.
He's really
He's
good.
got that swagger.
Look, I'm not backtracking on anything I said on him. Like Seen very few goalies at that age be that good, and one of them is Marty Brodeur. And, I'm not trying to say this kid's going to be a Hall of Famer because Marty is one. But I saw Marty. I recruited him. There were only 2 schools that recruited him, Brown University and St. Lawrence. He was as good as I had seen.
Mm-hmm.
This kid reminds me of him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to be as good, but I'm not backing off that either. This kid's really good.
I hear. And, of course, he is the property of the Montreal Canadiens, and I know them and their fans are excited about that. Pierre, as we were saying before we came on the air today, I was asking you how much a tournament like this at this time in the year may weigh on teams' decisions when it comes to potential NCAA free agents. And obviously, it has a huge implications on the draft, too. You see how – but when it comes to guys that are either too old to be drafted or aren't going to be drafted, how much does a tournament where you have to deliver in the clutch weigh on their performance and their outlook?
It's just another link in the chain being evaluated. It does matter because it's a huge opportunity in front of massive crowds to stand and deliver. And there's a lot of intention in this. When you watch those games the other night, even though both scores were blowouts, the pace for both games was crazy.
Yeah,
fast
and the atmosphere.
Yeah, so it's important. It's just another link in the chain, though, in terms of the evaluation process. The one thing that I do think is happening, a lot of players have been drafted by teams. Teams aren't signing them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to probably go back into the pool, and that's where a lot of things change. So if you're one of those players that maybe isn't going to get signed, you're going back in the pool, you should probably know by now. So it means a lot for you to stand.
That's a great point. I know you said that before too, and I forgot to ask you before, but I'll ask you here on air. How much fast does word travel in a situation like that around different teams? So, like, I know these guys see each other all the time at the rinks, whether they're scouting college games or AHL, and they bump into each other. Do other teams know already the certain players that aren't going to be signed by their teams?
Some of them do because the agents are told.
Right.
The agent's saying, hey, I want to get Jimmy Murphy signed. I represent Jimmy Murphy. The team says, we're not signing Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to give me my release? Well, they get their release, but not until a certain date. So, yeah, some teams would know, but not a lot of teams. Then once the agent finds out,
then he lets it be known.
Then he gets proactive. He says, hey, Jimmy Murphy's available.
Right.
You got his interest in. And usually every month, players that are undrafted or players that are drafted, their agents will put out a prospect to all the teams. So they say it's like a marketing tool.
Yeah, I know that we discussed this topic too with Matt Cater when he was here with us last week at West End Johnny's. And then again with Coach Mike Cavanaugh too, that the new CHL NCAA agreement is looking like it's going to give potential free agents more of a chance. It's going to flood the market.
Well, it is, and that's good for teams. And that's why the NHL really, and I know they are, and they are, there's going to be expansion. There is going to, they can say whatever they want. There's going to be expansion.
There's
at least
it's just a matter of when.
There's at least 2 teams coming, and there could be more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you, there could be. So I'll give you breaking news now. Jimmy knows, but I'll pass it. I've been approached by a bunch of different coaches in major junior hockey that want to build off of what Jimmy's talking about. And this Wednesday, and I'm not telling you who it is or where it is, I'm meeting with a coach of a very successful team in major junior in Montreal to try to see how he can help his players that might have to
get placed.
Yep. Or go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a first time, Jimmy, in a long time. I've been in college hockey since 1979.
I know.
It's a first time.
Think about those days when you were telling me you couldn't even go into a junior rink with the emblem on your jacket.
No. Good, you get in a fight. And then you have to explain to the president of your school why I have a black eye. You're supposed to be out recruiting. But anyways, it's the first time that I can tell you that I'm sitting down and having breakfast with a very substantial major junior operator to see what he can do for his players. I think that shows you how everything's opening up.
All right. Well, let's get to some pro stuff right now, Pierre. Of course, the Four Nations, as we said, we're going to be up in Montreal at McLean's Public House, 1420 Peel Street, not the old McLean's down on Lower Peel, Upper Peel, 1420 Peel Street. We will be there on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 6 to 7 p.m. But, Pierre, the teams are already there. The teams are already practicing right now in Brossard, just outside of Montreal, and I've been seeing the lines float in, the different D pairings. From the practices, Pierre, you look at this, seeing that, I don't know if I've always been excited about this because I'm excited that we're doing these shows at McLean's Public House.
Yeah.
But now seeing this and seeing these teams practicing together and all the different pairings and lineups, now it's really hitting.
No, it's legit. I mean, it's
It's
good.
here.
The heartbreaking thing for me is when I found out Quinn Hughes was
Oh,
playing.
gosh.
And I'm happy for Jake Sanderson who's taking
Yep.
his place. I'm thrilled to death for Jake.
I want to ask you about him
He's
too.
a tremendous
Yeah.
kid. But Quinn Hughes is a big loss for USA. USA is a really good team. Don't
Yeah, but that's a huge loss.
That's a big loss for them in a lot of ways.
Uh-huh.
But we'll see. Jake's a really good player. Jake's a really good. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is real.
Yep.
And then you start seeing some of the lines. And you see Crosby with Nathan McKinnon, and you're going, and Mark Stone, and you're going, it's a good line. And then you see McDavid and Marner, and you're going, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's a lot there. But I want to bring up Jake Sanderson because, you got to know him a bit during your time in
Very
Ottawa.
well.
Just for those that don't watch him enough, what's something they should be looking for in his game that maybe enough people don't talk about?
He's an elite skater that can match up and close the gap on you unbelievably well. He's really an elite skater. I coached his father for 2 years,
Mhm.
and his dad was a tremendous point getter. He had over 40 goals 2 years in a row for him. He coached him in Hartford. And the kid skates like the father. His father was a heck of a skater. His dad was really a good skater. This kid might be a little more powerful. So there's a Ryan McDonough level of skating to Jake Sanderson's game, which I think is really important. Jake can make a really good first pass. But what I think gets underrated about him is just how he closes the gap so well in the neutral zone. He's tremendous closing the gap.
Yep. Well, that's going to, at least they got him to lean on with Hughes out. You look at that team, though, I want to stay with USA right now. I say in terms of, if you're comparing USA and Canada, I like the forward position a lot better for Canada. If you were to, I think you agree with me there. If you were to take a counter argument, why would you say USA is better at the forward
I
position?
wouldn't. I'd be agreeing.
Okay,
with
so you are.
So I would agree. But where I would say US is better is in goal.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And without Pietrangelo, and I'm a huge Drew Doughty guy, but Drew's been out for a while now.
Right.
You talk about missing Quinn Hughes. I get it. You do.
Yep.
Jake Sanderson in this tournament is not going to be overmatched. He will not.
Mhm.
Drew, not saying to be overmatched, but there's going to be timing issues. Yeah,
Exactly. I know.
So it's a big difference. So where I think Canada's not as good as in goal and maybe not in defense, but their firepower is ridiculous.
Yeah, I
Up
hear.
front, they're ridiculous.
And who gets a coaching edge?
Well, Sullivan's a really good coach.
Yep.
They both been Stanley Cup winners. Cooper's had a better array of players to work with for longer.
Uh-huh.
He's good. It's hard to say.
Yeah, pretty even.
Pretty even.
Well, let's not forget, though, there's two other teams, and I don't think enough people, obviously, because we're in North America, are talking about it.
Sweden's good.
Sweden's back end is what impresses
The
me.
Finns are going to miss Miro Heiskanen. They don't have.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. Whomever's coming in to replace him, they don't have anybody
Nobody's like that.
close.
Yeah.
Miro Heiskanen's the best.
And I'm kind
player
of
in the
bummed, too,
league.
Pierre, because we don't talk about him enough, and it would have been a great chance for the league and the average fan to get to see him more.
Yeah.
But you look at that Sweden defense, Pierre, they're stacked.
Hey, they're so good that Oliver Ekman-Larsson didn't make their team. So he's a top 2 guy for Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto's a good team. Toronto's one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
So, and he's a Stanley Cup winner. So yeah, no, Sweden's good. But this could go a lot of different ways because it's a fast tournament.
Mhm.
So I read something today that Victor Hedman said after the game in Montreal yesterday. He said, this is a short tournament. If you don't hit the ground running, chances are you're going to be in trouble.
Uh-huh.
And I'm with Victor on
Yeah.
that. Hey, look, everybody's gunned up for USA Canada on Saturday night. What happens if Canada loses their first game?
Yeah.
What happens if the Americans lose their first
Exactly.
game? Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Just telling you.
You were at the 2016 World Cup.
Mhm.
Was that sort of the same thing where they had to hit the ground running really fast?
Yeah, it was a little different type of setup, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The World Juniors one where you have to hit the ground running.
Yep.
The Olympics, not so much. The World Championships, definitely not, because you got time at the World Championship. But this is quick.
Yeah.
You play 3 games and then it's decided.
And how much more difficult is it when it's in the middle of a season? Or does that make it easier because you're already in game motion, with the exception of a guy like Doughty? But
No, that's a good question. I'm just trying to think. I don't want to give you a haphazard answer. So I'd say in the middle of the season, it's probably good for the timing and the pace and the conditioning. I think it's a problem. Let's say a guy comes in injured. And I think there's some guys that are playing.
Oh,
that
yeah,
are hurt.
at this point of the year, yeah.
So that's where you kind of wonder.
Okay.
Okay. I think health matters a lot. Health matters a lot.
I hear you. Before we move on from that, Pierre, I'm going to put you right on the spot. When we're sitting here, so it'll be a week from this Saturday. So 2 Saturdays from now, we'll be sitting here again at West End Johnny's, teeing up the championship game. Who do you see in that championship game?
Wait a second. Are your dates right? Because
Thursday. Excuse me, Thursday. Thursday.
What are you talking about?
Thursday.
Okay, Thursday.
On the 20th. Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if USA plays Canada.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, could something else happen? Absolutely. But would I be surprised? No.
Okay. All right. We'll put it there. All right. Let's get into the NHL. It's on pause right now. But one thing that is available to teams is to move players up and down from the minors, or you can waive players and you can trade players right now. I was under the impression a month ago, I'll confess, Pierre, I didn't realize that. I thought that they were going to freeze it like they do in the holidays, but they don't. And we're kind of looking at some rosters right now, and it's a little surprising that some teams haven't taken advantage of that. They've got some players sitting on their NHL roster that could be sent down to get some game action in the AHL.
Like Goalies in Montreal?
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. Plus, he doesn't need waivers. So I was surprised by that. And then you look at how well Primo's played.
Yeah, by the way.
I don't know.
I wonder if he's their second goalie when they come back.
I don't know. Here's what I do know. They just come out of beating Toronto twice. They're in first place in their division. Laval's playing really well.
You read my mind.
Laval's playing well.
What I was going to ask you is the reason I wonder so much if they bring Primo back up is, do they want to, shake up what they got going on right now?
Connor Hughes is playing real well too. So they got
Okay.
stuff going on goal. I wouldn't worry about their goaltending. I think the biggest thing for them is to make sure the roster stays healthy for them. I would just say Golbish is one that I'm like, I was looking today. I'm like, why isn't he on waiver?
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't require waiver. Why wasn't he sent down? So I don't know why. But the Canes clearly understand what they're doing. They do. They understand. I like what Marty St. Louis said yesterday after the game. He said, we all need to be re-energized. We need support. We're tired.
And I think it's more so mentally too with that team right now.
I think it's more mental than physical. I really do. I know some players that went on vacation. Saturday was their last game, and then they left early on Sunday. Not Montreal guys, obviously, but different teams. And a lot of guys are going on vacation. I didn't think as many would, but a lot of guys are going on vacation. They are, which is good, I think. Really good.
All right, we're looking at the standings, Pierre, and as it's well known, the East is just the wild, wild East. It's usually the wild, wild West, but it's the wild, wild East in the NHL right now. And you look at all the teams still in contention, but I think I'm basing this just on the last month. And if they can continue that momentum that they built, I do see the Detroit Red Wings. That's my gut feel.
So I can say this, Jimmy knows, I look at it every day.
Yep.
They're the only team in the East that has a negative goal differential that's in the playoff position. They're the only one. Everybody else in the East in the top 8 is a positive goal differential. So I think Detroit's going to make it. I do. Larkin can't get hurt this year.
No.
Dylan Larkin can't get hurt this year.
No.
He got hurt last year for 2.5 weeks, and
it derailed him.
Cannot get hurt.
I'm with you on that. But the only reason I might not see them make it, and I think it would be a great story for the NHL if they can make it. The Columbus Blue Jackets are
Big
1
loss
point
against Rangers.
Yeah, they're 1 point behind them though. All right.
Oh, big loss. You'll see.
They've got a ton of cap space. They've got a lot of prospects.
They do.
They're ahead in terms of development and where the organization probably thought they'd be. They're a little ahead right now. If you're Don Waddell, are you adding?
I would if we stay in that position. But if that Saturday loss was a big one. That was a big one.
So you give it a week when you get back, basically?
Give it maybe 10 days.
Okay.
You'll know. 10 days is going to be close to the deadline too, but you're going to know.
Right.
You're going to really know. I felt bad for them. Yeah. And it's not that I don't want the Rangers.
The injuries they're dealing with.
They're dealing with injuries.
Oh, my gosh. It's like they get Mowinski back, then Marchenko goes out.
That was a weird one, too. It's just a puck in the face sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
It's not like he was out there playing.
I know.
So that's a tough one. But no, Columbus is a good one. That'd be a good one, actually. I still wish Montreal got back in the hunt. I really do.
I think it would have been great, not just for that city, but for the game,
I just don't
for the
know if they're going
NHL.
to be able to this year. I just don't. Here's my big conundrum with Montreal, and we're going to see him a lot over the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
What's going on with Patrick Laine? There's something's going on.
Yeah.
You're not playing the same way.
So the knock has always been, right, Pierre, that he's a power play specialist. He's not that great 5-on-5. But if he's not doing what he's supposed to do on the power play and he's not getting it done 5-on-5, which he's not at all right now, what do you do if you're the coach?
Well, I agree. That's what I'm asking. And I'm watching that and I'm going, okay. And I saw, look, there's some games where he played less than 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't have been very happy about that.
Well, I mean,
what's
the coach supposed to do? Yeah, exactly.
To do that.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm with you on that. But you look at, so we're looking at Columbus, the Boston Bruins, another team, obviously, who plays right up the street from where
I'm
we
just
are.
going to tell you right now, Jimmy, tell me what their goal differential is. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to ask you. It's negative. What is it, Jimmy?
Negative 25.
Negative 25. You think they're getting in?
No.
Not a No. Now, if they get their goal differential of -8, -7, maybe.
How are they going to do that, though, by like the deadline, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to do it?
Yeah.
People don't like. That's a really telling stat. And I know that I've been harping on it with you for a long time.
But you're right.
But it tells you how your team is playing. Whether your team's cheating the game defensively, whether they're not good enough offensively, it tells you where your team is.
Yeah. We're getting a little worried, Pierre. You might need to put your mic down a bit right there. There we go. Better?
I don't know. Ask them.
How are we doing, people? Better? Yeah, looking better. Looking better.
Okay, good.
But I remember last year too, Pierre, Washington. Remember how they just made it in? And they were the only team in the East that had a negative goal differential.
Then
and they were out in 4
spanked by
games.
the Rangers.
Yeah. So that's a huge stat. I don't understand why people wouldn't think that's important, but it's big. And you look at the standings right now. Yeah. I mean, that's not a good sign for the Boston Bruins. So my question to you is, we've heard, will they retool? Will they rebuild? Don Sweeney last week went on TNT and was the most open I've ever seen him be about maybe potentially taking a different path and being a buyer like they've been since he's been the GM. But when you have players like Swayman and Pasternak and McAvoy, you can't really blow it up, so to speak,
What
right?
about Hampus Lindholm?
And Hampus Lindholm, forgive me for forgetting him.
No, but I'm just
Yeah.
these are big dollar contracts.
Yeah. So how do you?
I don't know how you do it.
And they don't have much coming up from below. I get this feeling. I'm not trying to
They have
be
to
Mr.
have to-
Negative.
They have to have, no, you're not. You're doing it the right
Yeah.
way. So here's one thing I'm going to say to you or ask you. How do they see Fabian Lysell?
I don't think they see him in their future.
Okay, so that was a mispick.
Yep.
Okay.
Georgi Merkulov,
How do they see him?
TBD for like the first 10 days after the
How do they
break.
see Riley Duran?
I don't think they see him a
How
regular.
do
up
they
here.
see John Farinacci?
I do not think they see him as a regular up here.
So I'm giving you some of the guys that they
Or
were
considered
counting
their
on.
top prospects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you is, when, like you said, when you have those cap hits on your salary, and how do you restructure a team on the fly like that? It's not like Washington. You corrected me, rightly so. A few weeks back, I said, I think they're going to try and go the Washington route. And you looked at me and go, how the hell are they going to go to Washington route? Look at what Washington had coming up the ranks and look at the picks they have coming. They don't have that. Is there a way that a team in the Bruins position can successfully retool at the speed that Washington did?
Only if they're prepared to trade one of their top guys.
That's what I'm thinking.
So I don't know what they're going to do with 63.
I think that's the biggest question
I don't
mark right
like
now.
to bring up names,
Right.
but Brad's an important player here. He's still a captain of the team. Is there a value for him around the league? I think there is.
There is.
What happens if he goes to this world I was going to call it Frozen Four.
Four Nations, World Cup, whatever.
Yeah, what happens if he goes to I was going to call it the Frozen Four. What happens if he goes to the Four Nations and rips it up? Does it put more of a marquee on him?
Yeah, I would think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one player. What happens if they have to make a decision on Lindholm, Carlo, or McAvoy?
Well, I'll tell you this. I think Carlo, out of those three, I think right now, this is just me thinking. I want to stress this. This is just me hypothesizing. I don't have anything telling me that this could happen. But based on what I know, if you're saying those three, I could see him going, because I think that
Carlo.
yes, because I think it's the easiest. It's the most cap friendly contract out of the three, and also he's the type of defenseman, Pierre, that every team that's got a chance in the playoffs is looking for. Right? He's a good stay-at-home guy that can complement an offensive puck mover on the left side. He's a good guy in the dressing room. He's a veteran, and his cap hit is digestible.
I watched Pittsburgh win Stanley Cups with Ron Hainsey, Brian Dumoulin,
Cole,
Paul Gill.
see what I'm saying?
Guys,
Yeah, exactly.
Jimmy, you don't have to tell me.
I know.
With all due respect.
I know.
But seriously, I've always liked him as a player. I don't like making up rumors on players.
Right.
But if you were to ask me how they're going to rebuild, which is a question you asked me, they're going to have to move a high profile,
And they're going to have to get picks
or
back.
prospects.
Yeah, or good prospects.
Because one of the things that's let this team down in Boston, they can debate it all they want, but they can't argue it. Debate all you want, but you can't argue. They're pro scouting, sir.
Mm-hmm.
They misread Zadorov and they misread Elias Lindgren.
Yep.
They did.
Agreed. All right. Well, we don't want to beat that dead horse too much. Let's get over to tell you right now. Again, we are here at West End Johnny's, 138 Portland Street in Boston, right down the street from TD Garden. Come on down if you're in the area. Somebody actually just tweeted me that they didn't realize we were here and they might walk back. So come on by. Join us here. The bar is open. People are going to start to filter in for the Beanpot. And we also want to thank Sam Adams Cold Snap. And as you can see here in front of us, we got the can right here. The old Sun Cruisers. I can vouch that these things are tasty. They give me a little more of a summer feel. So maybe you have a couple of those. You warm up in this cold weather. But come on down. They've got plenty of other beers to drink here. We want to thank also Boston Beer Group. And again, Johnny Caron, the owner here at West End Johnny's. Again, man, the stories he's got. Some of the places he's been, man. I had no idea that he actually worked for the Los Angeles Kings.
Rogie Vachon.
With Rogie Vachon. That's great stuff. Great stuff.
How about the picture outside the fabulous Forum?
Yeah.
Now, Jimmy, I don't know. I might date myself. Did you ever have the opportunity to go to the Forum?
No.
Okay.
I drove by it when I was about 10 years old, but that's
so
it.
There was a club in there called the Forum Club. And it would be a special place to go after games.
Yeah. I think did you see the thing that Amazon did on the Lakers?
No.
About the heyday?
No.
They focused in on that. They're always in that club after the games. So anyhow, let's get to our sponsors right now. TCS Customs Logistics. You can go there right now and unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics. From around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For no obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. And let's go over to Betway, who I'm sure was a busy site in the last 24 hours. What did you say you heard the number was?
$1.68 billion.
Were laid down on the Super Bowl in one way or another last night. I felt bad for my friend Jeff. He did a prop where it was Saquon Barkley to score the first touchdown of the game. Now, if you remember, Dotson went in. They called it back, so then they have it at the 1. And I'm like, you're going to get it now, Jeff.
They did the tush
but then they did the tush push, and Jalen Hurts goes in. But you can go over to Betway still, and you can get tons of props, not just on football, on every sport there is. Hockey ones, they've got the goal scorers. You can get the first goal of the game score, all sorts of stuff over there right now. But, of course, no NHL action. However, you can bet on the Four Nations face-off there. You can do futures. You can do the same things you do with every NHL game. So if you go over to Betway right now, check that out. And I will tell you that, Pierre, they still are allowing you to go over and lose a bet on your first bet if you're a new member, and they will give you $200 credit. So you want to go over right now and go up to the SKU. If you can see it, I don't know where it is. It's usually up in front of us on the screen. There we go. Bet the beauties with Betway and join the action. Go there right now and look at that QR code, or you can go to the website, to the details section, and sign up for a new account. Again, this offer is available only for new customers. It is not available in Ontario. You must be 18, and you must bet responsibly. Pierre, I'm going to do a Beanpot pick since we're here, the Beanpot Championship. BC is a heavy favorite, and I don't like the value. They're at -160 last I checked to win. You could take them on a puck line to go. I believe it was up to like plus 190. Obviously, better value there. But looking at these games, Pierre, they're always tight games. I don't see BC blowing BU out. I see this thing maybe going to overtime. So I'm just going to take them on the money line. Give me Boston College 160. I think BU gives them a great game, but BC comes away with the Beanpot title. Who you liking in this one, Pierre?
I'm not betting.
I know, but
Sorry.
how about just as a winner?
No.
All right, we won't even do that.
No,
All
I
right.
deal with these people every day.
I hear you. I understand. All right, next, let's get over our Q&A right now. What do we got? Big guy question. Could there have been 2 teams per country in the Four Nations face-off? Mike from Postnet on 130.
There could have been. I don't know why we want to do that.
Right.
They've got a finite amount of time that they can play this. So
Yeah. But
no.
yeah, a lot of these countries are deep enough where they could put up
Yeah,
2
they
teams.
could. I'm just disappointed, and there's no politics involved here. None.
Yep.
The Russians aren't here. The Czechs aren't here, and the Slovaks aren't here, and even the Germans, Draisaitl and Stutz.
See, I'm glad you said that last week.
JJ Peterka. I mean,
I'm glad you put Germany in there because I don't think they get enough respect. That country's cranking out some
they're
NHLers
starting
these
to.
days.
They
They really are.
I can tell you this right now, and I don't want to say too much, but I'll tell you this. When I was working for the last team I worked for, we were trying quietly to establish almost an academy type situation in Germany,
Wow.
because I just think that's where there's a potential for a lot.
And of course, you were at that Olympics when they almost beat Russia.
It
back
should have
in-
been Russia.
yeah.
One icing, and if not for Kirill Kaprizov, Russians don't win.
Yeah. And our good friend Marco Sturm was the coach for Germany. He did a
Marco
great job there. Did a
Marco
great
did an
job.
amazing job.
One of the best guys I've met covering the game of
Awesome
hockey.
human.
All
Awesome
right.
guy.
Next question. Randy Workman. What did you think of Elliott's comment saying players who are playing? I'm not sure I understand this question. Some player will not be returning. Randy, could you rephrase the question? I'm not sure where you're going with that. We'll come back to you. All right, next question. Randy Workman. Jeremy Swayman is a Bruin at the end of the year. Yay or nay?
Yes.
Yes. All right, next question. We got any? I think that might be it right now. Well, we'll get back to Randy for his question there. One thing I want to ask you, Pierre, we talked a lot about the East.
Yep.
Out West,
Yes.
the team's still in the mix. Now, I'm going to include the Utah Hockey Club because they had a successful last couple
Big
games.
win yesterday. in
Yeah,
Washington.
they
Big
were
win.
really, man, don't mess with them when the game goes to extra time. Three out of their last 4 games went to extra time. They won all 3 of those games. The only one that didn't, they lost to Carolina 7-3. They are 57 points. Calgary is 60 and Vancouver is 63 for that last spot there.
Vancouver.
I agree with you, but you do see, based on what we've seen come out of Utah and how gung-ho this owner is right now, you said to me before, this could be a team to watch at the deadline. Do you see him possibly trying to get really busy there?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, but
Because they've got some prospects. They've got picks.
They do. They got prospects. They do. They've done a good job. Armstrong's done a good job there as a GM. They've got some prospects. There's no question. The biggest thing, Jimmy, I think with Vancouver is they're starting to play defense. You look at how they beat Toronto the other night. They beat them 2-1. Lankinen had to come in after Thatcher Demko got hurt. He made an amazing save on Austin Matthews with time running out. There's less than 2 minutes left in the game. But they're playing hard defensively, which is good for them. And so I think Vancouver's and Pockett's a really good coach. Like if it comes down to coaching, he'll get them in.
Yeah.
Utah, I don't know if they're ready, and I don't know about the goaltending still. I just don't know. About the goaltending.
I'm glad you brought that up about the Vancouver defense because I know a lot of Canucks fans, obviously, when that deal first happened for JT Miller and then the deal with Pittsburgh as well, they're looking at like, what happened here? Why we got the raw end of this? And both of us called each other and we're like, nah, watch that blue line now. Because those were very strategic acquisitions by the Vancouver Canucks.
They're two groups that really, I think the trades have been, I don't want to say misevaluated, but people didn't give Colorado enough credit for getting Drury and Natchez. And you see what both those guys, especially Natchez, what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing.
He's fitting in now.
And then you look at what's gone on in Vancouver, and I don't know if people really understood, how much were people really watching Pittsburgh over the last couple of years? They've been a non-playoff team, so I don't know how much they've been watching them.
Yep.
And then Marcus Pettersson's, he's a really good defender. He's a really good
Yeah.
defender.
And by all accounts, he's great in a
Drew
room,
O'Connor,
too.
yeah, and Drew, well, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Drew O'Connor is a really big guy that can move, and they know him.
Well,
They
the
just-
one reason I did mention that, though, is considering what was going on with that team in terms of all the sideshow stuff, it was good that they got a character guy.
Yeah, that's fair. No, character is one thing.
Yeah.
Good in the room is.
Okay. I got you.
Scotty Bowman had the best line. If he's so good in the room, tell him to stay there. If he's no good on the ice.
Hey, we should get Scotty on soon.
We will.
Talk about the
We will.
international
We
competition.
will. That's a good. You know what? As soon as we're done.
76 Cup, right? Canada Cup.
76
There we go.
Canada Cup.
All right. What do we got for questions? Anything else? Randy Workman. Jimmy, the 32 Thoughts podcast. Elliot says some players have been told there is going to be action during the Four Nations break. There's a feeling around, I heard this too, Randy. There's a feeling around some teams that players won't return to the team they left for the break.
Well, that could happen for sure. But
That can
I mean,
happen.
Nobody knows that.
No, nobody
It could
knows
ha-
that,
it
but
could
it's allowed to happen.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to ask you though, Pierre, knowing that you know the league so well, is there a sense that maybe Mr. Bettman would not want a trade to happen to overshadow the Four
What
Nations?
happens if you did it on an off day?
There you go.
I don't think there'll be any trades on the championship day, and I don't think there'll be any trades on Saturday when Canada and USA play.
Yeah.
What happens if you did it on an off day?
The one thing I should note, and Friedman made a good point. I heard what Randy was talking about. He goes, yeah, probably that's true. But then again, Linus Ullmark got traded on Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. I forgot about that.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, actually. Good job.
All right, next question. Hong Tron, I hope I pronounced your name right. If we're picking a 10 in the draft, how much would you have to give up to pick, say, 6 to 8? To move up to 6 to 8?
Yeah. In this draft, you'd have to give up a little. Maybe another pick, maybe a
Because there's
prospect.
that much differential from pick to pick.
Yeah, it's 1 through 6 or 7's really
Okay.
good.
All right, next question. Big guy. Could there be a shuffle of teams in the East and West for playoff format 1 to 8, making it out of 16?
Could there be?
A shuffle of teams in the East and West, meaning how much teams will move up and down from here into the end of the season?
Well,
I think a lot. It could
yeah,
happen. They're
there's
so
a lot
tight.
yeah, they're tight. 2 and 3 in each side are. Like, I don't think anybody's catching Washington now
No.
unless they really collapse.
And I feel like Tampa's going to secure that third spot
Third
in the Atlantic.
spot. So then it's going to be, is it Toronto or is it going to be Florida for 1 or 2?
Yep.
So I think the biggest thing will be who's going to make those wild cards.
All right, next question. Alfonso Reda. Hey, guys, which player is your MVP prediction of the tournament? Mine is Cal McCarr, talking about the Four Nations. I think it's going to be a goalie. Who that is, I don't know.
I'm going to take Austin Matthews for the Americans. I'll take Nathan McKinnon for the Canadians. I'll take Sasha Barkov for the Finns if they win. For the Swedes, I'll take Willie Nylander.
All right, interesting. All right, next question. Hongtron. Can Montreal fit Rantanen with the cap going up? Yeah,
Can Montreal fit Rantanen? Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, they could. And as of now, I mean, I haven't heard anything that he's not
Yeah,
going to
no,
market.
no,
So,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right, next question. Big guy, is there an underdog that could make it to the finals in the Four Nations? I say Sweden.
Sweden.
That was easy. Next question. Dylan Kalum. Do you guys think that Jamie Alexiak goes to Montreal? And what would the Habs have to get in an Evans trade?
Jamie Alexiak. Why would Seattle be in a rush to jump?
A lot of, I don't know. I haven't heard that, but I do know that a lot of people think Seattle's going to be dumping some players.
Move players.
Yeah.
I mean, he fits. He was a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah.
What was the second part of that?
What should Jake Evans get as a return if they were to trade Jake Evans? What do you think you get?
Probably second round pick and maybe a prospect.
Okay. And that's given that he's unsigned still.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's a
Yeah.
rental.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Roger Collette. I think the Habs are done. The circus rebuild is not working. Circus rebuild? I don't know about that, Roger. They can't execute fundamentals, and it's shameful. Can't pass, can't shoot or skate. Your thoughts?
Well, I disagree on the can't skate part, and they do pass the puck. I mean, they're much better than they were at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
They're going through a rebuild. Look, I think they're tired. more mental than physical.
Yeah, as we said at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. No, I think they are. All I know is part of a rebuild is having young players. They got some good young guys in Laval, and they got some good young guys like Jacob Fowler, one of them, Michael Hayes is another one of them, Sam Harris is another one. They got some young guys. I mean, I wouldn't be so quick to write Montreal off.
Look, I get it from a fan's perspective. They haven't won a cup since 1993. They've made the playoffs for a few years. I get the frustration here. But, Roger, I bet if you took a step back and you really looked at it, I think you'll be a lot happier. Just
can I ask you one
look
question?
at it objectively.
You're saying the Canes haven't won the cup since 1993. When did Toronto Maple Leafs win the cup?
67.
Okay, thanks.
Exactly.
Just checking.
Yeah.
How about Philadelphia?
Exactly.
When's the last time they won?
I know. A lot of teams. How about Buffalo Sabres? They haven't won at all. Never. So don't worry, Roger. It's coming.
There's a team out west in Canada that's never won.
That's
Vancouver.
right. Vancouver Canucks. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
yeah. All right. Next question. Randy Workman, Jimmy and Pierre, would you like the NHL to do an NBA style play-in for the playoffs?
I heard somebody management person talk about this, and I said, I need to hear more. I would be intrigued by it.
I am too.
It's kind of like
Good
baseball
question,
too.
Randy.
It is a good question. I'd be intrigued by it. I just don't know if I don't know if the fans should buy it. I just don't know. Maybe in that city they might.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but if it's a one game, it'd kind of be cool.
Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of think it'd be cool. Let's look into that. All right, next question. Is that it? I think that's it, my friend. There we go. That is it, Shane says. So listen, I want to remind everyone again, we are back here at West End Johnny's, 138 Portland Street in Boston next week on Monday and Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. The championship game, of course, is on Thursday. And also we want to thank Johnny Caron, who's sitting right here.
He's the man.
He's the man.
He is the man.
Full of stories and everything. I love it.
Stories, the memorabilia, the
Oh my
hospitality,
gosh.
the kindness, how he treats his patrons.
Yeah.
It's
He's
amazing.
got like Pierre McGuire's autograph up on the wall there too.
That was nice of him to ask me to do it. At least it wasn't a blank check.
There we go. Well, listen, and obviously, as we were saying before, we're going to be up at McLean's Public House in Montreal, 1420 Peel Street. So come on up before the Four Nations games there, 6 to 7 p.m. Come join us there. And then, Pierre, you're off to the Beanpot.
Yeah,
I want to watch your son in Northeastern play in the first
And
game.
I'll see you in Montreal tomorrow. I'm going to come see Johnny before this whole thing comes back tomorrow. I'll be back here this coming weekend.
Okay.
So I'll see Johnny.
All right.
before
We'll get her going. We want to thank Boston Beer Group and the Sun Cruisers and Sam Adams Cold Snap as well. Thank our folks back in Montreal working at the studio, and also thank the people in the Q&A section. Thanks for all your questions, and thanks to you, the listeners and viewers. We will talk to you live from Montreal on our next show. This has been another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.